Hey, we love that umbrella guy. All right. Thank you.
I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThatUmbrellaGuy. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me, or I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me, or I'm a man.
Getting masked up to drop another verse, hitching up the plow, locking in another purse. The mic pump with your confessions in the mix, broadcasted by a lawyer way too busy turning tricks. Introducing the ecosystem's newest hires, setting any legitimacy on fire. A drum roll for a creeper and con. Attention journalists is my settlement offer on. Pushing motions, hoping for a new delay, knowing discovery is doing what, 14 days? Phone records, every number, man, that filing was a wreck. As the ecosystem brags about their brand new tech. It all so shifty, but that's about the score. The protective orders, aren't you violating it some more? Here's another reminder, the ecosystem you created keeps fundraising. An ex-convict, an ex-con convicted of fraud and extortion. One that makes threats while spouting off every approved talking point and ignoring any proof of wrongdoing. And how do I know? No, they'll let proof owe their rent-to-own partner, which hilariously got ignored. And the line saying I should be sleeping with a gat, please. Feeling like the sun warring with a swarm of gnats. More ankle biters trying to stop this platinum flow, when the truth is, well, you know, we know, no. Fun times, these really are fun times indeed.
Ah, fun times. These really are fun times. What's up, folks? Welcome to, we had a bunch of documents dropped on us today.
It's a flurry. A
Oh,
flurry
man.
of documents.
I'm telling you, more like a freaking snowstorm since last week. I mean, it has been insane. I can't even keep up. Like, it's
I know.
everything to do just to make sure, you know, we catch everything. And for people like doubting that, by the way, just like check this out. I mean, here's the document list. I mean, look at this. We have, by the way, look at all of
Today's
it
the
fall
11th.
in.
Today's the 11th. We have
Mhm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that 6?
Yeah, well, there was the conditional thing. So there's that listed on today, but that was really something that
Oh,
was
wait.
attached to the
I
others.
missed the action by the judge. Look at the top.
Yeah, action required by the judge.
Conditional request for
Yeah.
order under Rule 41. Only if 12b1 is granted an order dismissing counterclaim under 41 entered.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's just noting he needs to do that.
Yeah,
Look
it's
at
the,
it.
you know, if, when, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah.
It's the thing we talked about, you know, with
Uh-huh.
them making their demand. That's what we talked about yesterday. But
Right.
we had Randy open up the floodgates, and he's like, yeah, you know about all this garbage.
Right.
Oh, I kind of loved it. I thought it was crazy. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it though. I mean, every day I've gotten to where I delay. Usually, I want to put out a thumbnail about, you know, 2, 3 o'clock right in there, and I'm like, I got to delay because I never really know what's going to drop at the back end of the day.
I know. That's why I say, like, we can't even plan for what we're going to talk about, because you got to just wait till the end of the day and see what the heck is going to happen, because it could be something crazy.
Well, this one is something else, because they're like, hey, Yeah, you know that little thing we were talking about with producing evidence and having to have that for a case. Well, it's fascinating how much they've complained about the original filing by Jeremy Hales.
Mhm.
Oh man, it has nothing. Okay, well, what was in that counterclaim? It was a whole lot of, well, nothing at all, really.
Oh, it was absolutely a whole lot of nothing at all. Absolutely no evidence? It's crazy.
No, it imagined that we have some, again, it goes with that whole giant conspiracy idea. This is all a conspiracy, but it's a conspiracy now with Randy. It was like, what?
What?
I'd love to have been a fly on the wall to like see Randy's initial reaction to some of that stuff. Be like, what in the hell?
Yeah,
I mean, it has
agreed.
to be funny. He's got to be like, what in the world? What is this shit show that I'm tangled up in?
Yeah, I know, right? Because this is one of the I don't know. I don't even know how to describe this. I was thinking about it today. Somebody had said something about they were sending me like a story that I would normally be interested in. And she was like, "Oh, I'd really like to hear your take on this, but I know you're really busy." It's like, "Yeah, I can only keep up with this one insane story because
I
it
know.
it keeps changing every day. It's changing. It's getting crazier, it's getting bigger, it's getting wild.
I kind of
Absolutely
love the
wild."
I kind of love the fact that I never know what I'm going to wake up to with it, though. I mean, like we just got past the "I'm going to sue you back," and it's like, okay, well, actually, let's go back. Let's rewind a little bit. First, it was "I'm going to send out a settlement offer to everybody." It's like, wait, what? And then right after that, we get well, you didn't respond to me in what was it, 9 hours? Yeah, 9 hours. So I'm gonna I'm gonna sue you. We're gonna come after you. Then they file. Well, Judge, we really want you to write this up a specific way. By the way, if you grant this one thing, then we want you to ignore what we just said. Just pretend it's not there. And they told you that's because we want to open up our own lawsuit. And oh my God.
It's crazy. The whole thing is craziness.
I've kind of enjoyed it though. I've kind of enjoyed the insanity. Again, wouldn't wish it on anyone.
I know you do.
If I'm keeping up with one, this has definitely been one for the record books.
It really has been. I mean, this is something, you always talk about wanting some merch or a reminder of a case you've been in.
Hmm.
This one is like a whole other level of that.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
like
know.
I've got 5 or 6 things to remember it by already.
That's true.
T-shirt, hamster, bubbles, like paint by number.
I got a
It's
lot. I remember
hilarious.
it by the lowbrow threats too. I mean, when else have I've been threatened a few times in stuff. I've been threatened by lawyers, much better lawyers than this, actually, to be honest. But I have never had them bring in a lowbrow, criminal, essentially. I mean, as far as a criminal, he's definitely a criminal, but I've never had one bring in someone to just try to knock everyone off the case.
I know. No, I've never seen this before ever. But I mean, I keep saying that about this case in so many different ways. I've never seen any of this before.
I gotta show my cup off too. I got a brand new. Somebody sent me a cup. It did not say who sent it, by the way. It does not have anything on there, but let me pull this thing up here. I kind of love it. It's kind of awesome. I enjoy, like I said, I enjoy all the random assortment of oddities that pop in. We had a coffee cup that came in. It's got the.
I love
Isn't
it.
that fascinating?
I love it.
Yeah. And then on the other side, man, look, he's decked out. He's got his cigar. Man.
I love it.
Oh man,
Perfect.
he's a little skinnier than me.
I love it.
I know, I love it that he's decked out, he's chained up. Let me see. Are those rings? Yeah, yeah, he's got all the look. Those are all rings right there. He's actually got a. I didn't get a. I need to take another picture because he has a. He has a bracelet on that's gold as well. So
It's
he's thugging it
fantastic.
out. I know, I love it.
It's a really cool looking skeleton. I like it.
I like that. Isn't that fascinating?
Yep.
Oh no, the guy at the post office. I opened it up there, and he's like, because I opened a few things up there, and he's like, "You get the weirdest stuff."
It's true. You do. You do get the weirdest things.
I kind of love it though. I kind of absolutely love it there. All right, I'm pulling up a few of these items here. Oh, by the way, if you like this content, we so far already have almost 2,500 people. We're just getting started, dude. That's pretty awesome. Thank you, folks. Man, all you folks showing up, showing the love. Appreciate that. And if you like the content, tell people we're live, of course. Make sure that you like, subscribe. You know that drill. And if you'd like to go further, well, ye old breadsticks are always, always welcome. Thank you, too. I appreciate you, folks. We're already 14 in, and we just started, so that's awesome.
Fantastic. I folks. We have the best chat.
We do,
this
really.
Chat is the best chat.
I like the fact that, you'll get a complaint every now and then, but people, by and large, understand that cases like this, they have meaning. The insanity, they're like, man, I gotta keep up with what's going on this. They kind of understand it as I don't know. I feel like I cover it just like I'm watching it. I'm right there, but I'm talking about it too. The only difference is that I have the microphone. So
right.
Let's look at the filings list, and then we will look at some filings. And these are again, most of it's answers to counterclaims. The counterclaims, again, we went over. I will briefly address what the counterclaims are, just so people remember that too. And then we will get answers to each one of them, so it'll be easy to keep up with as well. Let me see. That's the thing. Gosh, man, so many buttons. There we go. So here's what we had dropped today. Again, 73, 74, 75, 76, and 77. Now, remember when you see these, folks, you have a doubling because they have to answer the stuff for Cook, the stuff for Preston. So you have your motion for summary judgment as to counterclaim. So they're asking for summary judgment again. You can say that by Jeremy Hales. Then you have motion for summary judgment as to counterclaim by Preston. Motion for summary judgment as to counterclaim by Preston. Again, they all, they tie in memorandum in support of, and so on. So again, it's like I don't want to say it's the same filing, but mostly the same filing. You have to address things a little separately because there's a little bit of deviation. We haven't really gotten to drill down into the counterclaims yet, man. Really talk about all the answers that were in there. I mean, we haven't even had time to do that yet. So there's some of this stuff that's still setting.
I know, it's incredible how much is accumulating, I mean, what are we even going to hit first here? I don't know what to do.
Well, first, I think we remind people, again, I don't want to read over these because we have read over these, but I want to remind you what's being answered. What are the counterclaims? There are 3. Count 1, intentional infliction of emotional distress. And I love, by the way, that Randy did answer the polyflops. He does.
The polyflops.
Yeah. Oh my God. They're trying to market that so hard.
They're trying to make fetch work, and it's just not going to.
It's so sad, man. And then they have, what essentially we have them, and they admit to this, by the way, we have them going and moving 540.08 from the original case filing and moving it over, trying to keep it in federal. Now, it's fascinating because when you read, we were talking about this last night, when you read the footnote, when they actually talk about the why and wherefore on it, they make some interesting admissions. They tell you the reason that they did that they wanted it delayed was so they could move it, not because of sickness and all those issues. No. They actually admit in their footnote that the reason they told the court was not the reason that they did it, which I don't know. I just find that fascinating. So, and then we have.
It is fascinating that they would even say it, you know? But
Yeah,
whatever.
why would you say that out loud? That's my
I
one
don't
thing.
know. I can't tell you. Tug, you can't ask me why these people do what they do. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it.
See, the footnote I'm talking about, by the way, if people miss that, I'll pull that up in 1 second too. And then you had count 3, invasion of privacy by unauthorized publication. Again, that's essentially a spinoff with the thumbnail litigation as well. So the footnote that I'm talking about, though, this was in, what was that filing called? It's called the defendant's conditional request. So that's the request if then. They're telling the judge, well, if you actually grant us 12B1, if you kick this case out, which is kind of wild for them to even file since we haven't even gotten our discovery stuff in. But if you do that, well, then we ask you to ignore all of our counterclaim stuff. But there's a footnote in that document. So let's pull that up. Give me 1 second here. Now the footnote, again, it's kind of fascinating. It's footnote 2, just in case you're out there keeping score. Again, I told you, what number was that? Give me 1 second. I want to know what document number that is too. There's so many of these things, man. It's document number 72 if you're wanting to pull it. So the footnote here talking about counterclaim 2, again, talking about the thumbnail litigation. They say the defendants cannot dismiss count 2 counterclaim under 41A, 1AI, because to do so would operate as an adjudication on the merits, since the claim, Florida Statute 540.08, was previously filed in state court and voluntarily withdrawn under Florida Rule 1.420A1 to be pursued in federal court. So they're telling you they voluntarily withdrew it. They're moving everything over. The reason that they're doing all of this, it was to push it into federal court. That's interesting. Because like I said, they slowed everything down. They're admitting they're just requesting dismissal under 41A2 is necessary because the plaintiff's counsel did not respond to a request to stipulate. Remember, the request to stipulate motion be granted on the plaintiff's action to dismissal of the counterclaims without prejudice. Remember the thing they mailed out to everyone? Yeah, I was talking about that as well. It's just been a wild, weird one. So having said that, I think the first thing we should look at, I suppose, is we could just look at the motion for summary judgment under Cook, the 2-page one, and then we can get into all the, I guess, the longer, the 11-page filers, because you have two two-pagers that are pretty much the same thing. Give me 1 minute. I got a bunch of documents open. All right, so this one, this is essentially, you have motion for summary judgment on counterclaim filed by Cook and Preston, and then we're gonna have a longer document that supports all of this. So they tell you, under pursuant to Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 56A, Mr. Hales, the plaintiff/counter defendant, moves for summary judgment on defendant/counterplay. Man, it's going to be so confusing, because
this whole thing is confusing.
Oh, it's going to be real confusing when they're like, oh, well, defendant, counterplay, like what? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? What's happening? But on Cook's counterclaim, as there's no genuine dispute to any material fact, and Mr. Hales is entitled to judgment as a matter of law, no facts of this case can be reasonably disputed. Defendant Cook cannot produce any evidence that suggests Mr. Hales did anything other than exercise his rights under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, guaranteeing freedom of press and of speech. So they're like, hey, what are you going to show that says that I don't have the right to talk about this stuff? Because essentially that's what they're going at. They're trying to shut down speech. And this is the exact same document with name change.
Wait till the judge gets a load of the fact that he's trying to shut down the media's right to speak, not just Jeremy Hales.
Yeah,
but anybody talking about this case. He thinks he's entitled. He thinks his clients are entitled to never be talked about, no matter what they do. It's incredible, really.
Well, it's weird. There's also this weird standard because, again, he's mailed us multiple times, including that settlement offer. He mailed it. He called us journalists covering this case, by the way. So, I mean, he admits, hey, you're journalists covering it. But by the way, I'm going to sue you for covering this. What? So it's
crazy.
I think he's mailed me 4 times asking about coverage. There was the initial one. Now, he wasn't their lawyer then, but then he mails me for the airport photos, where he includes 9 photographs, and right after dropping the thumbnail litigation too. He drops that off on everybody, but he's also like, hey, here's some pictures. Why don't you talk about this stuff? I'm sure you're going to, right? Or do you draw a line there? So he's taunting me to cover it. Then he includes all of us on the mailing to, I can't remember who the journalist was, where he writes out that big long freaking email promising them that they get to come on channels and more, but that one, again, he's including media. He's actually writing to media, mentioning you have the right to respond to things like that for sure. And then we have this last one. So he's wanting to shut you down while also inviting you. That doesn't work. You can't do that.
No, you cannot do that. You can't invite media to cover a story and then threaten to sue them because they don't cover it the way you would want them to. How dare you, sir? How dare you?
Well, what he's telling you is they want a PR team.
Right. Which we know, which he has. So what does he need me for? Why do you have to have me? You have to have everybody on your side. You can't just let it lie. Do your thing. What do I care? But why do I have to be in on? Why do I have to be included? I don't want to be part of the ecosystem of hate. No, thank you. I would like to decline, please.
I know how to spell per Gary. What are you talking about? I mean, the literacy components. I don't know, Megan. I really want to see them bring you in, and when they talk about something that you say, they're like, oh my God, Megan has committed perjury. I want to see it.
I know, perjury.
I mean, what's bad about this is, I mean, their whole chat was totally confused by that too. Let me pull up the chat part of it. It's pretty funny too. Let me roll it forward.
Perjury. Did they really try and say they did that on purpose because they call him Germ, maybe? So perjury with a G, but that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't at all. Their whole,
that makes no
some people are like,
sense,
wait,
man.
did we misspell it on purpose? And then all these idiots are like, yeah, Gary. It's not a joke when no one else is in on it with you, And they're like, wait a minute, did you do that on purpose? And of course, afterwards, oh yeah, of course I did. Oh my God. This is the weirdest timeline I think I've ever.
How are you not entertained, people? How are you not entertained by this?
Yes.
Oh, by the way, did you see that the hate Facebook page or whatever, I don't know, the fake Facebook, we'll just call it the fake Facebook page because it's not really What the Hales. So it looks like their administrator, the only admin it has abandoned ship.
No, I don't think that's correct.
That didn't happen?
No. Remember, I mentioned this about 3 weeks ago, I'm going to say. Remember I told you I'm not seeing an admin on this anymore. Okay, under Facebook rules, if there's no admin on a group after 7 days, the thing goes poof and it disappears. Well, I
Oh,
was
and it's been
curious
more
about
than
that.
7 days.
Yeah. So apparently admins can hide who they are. So that admin, when they were, I think that account is afraid that people are going to start looking into it and see exactly who that was. So they decided that they would no longer show that they were admin. They decided to cut it off, but it's been weeks. So if there was no moderator whatsoever, then it would just go up. Now, if a moderator can abandon and they can offer other people to take over, those people, I mean, again, I don't know if they could have handed it off or not. I mean, that's possible too. You wouldn't know who the mod is there. They could have handed them off to themselves on another account. So they could have camouflaged their account, could have handed it off to another account,
Interesting.
hit it.
Okay.
Yeah. But with it not disappearing in 7 days, I saw the conversation about that too. I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was one I thought, man, this gold mine of information. See, this is what's I figure this will happen sooner or later, depending on who created that. All of that information there, if somebody attached to the ecosystem created it, there's way too much proof in that room. So that thing will go ghost. So if there's anything that people want to preserve out of that, and you never know what you should preserve until it comes up later on a lot of times. But yeah, making sure that you preserve a lot of that place, like block. I can't even, I was going to say block some of the anonymous accounts, but really if you do that, like,
well, then you don't get all
the
the hilarious whining and reeing.
It's funny.
You don't want to block them. They're hilarious.
Well, when you block them out, I'm talking about trying to sort through them. You'll have accounts that for a day they'll try to disrupt. So they'll post like hundreds of times on there, and it's like, really, like, that's the funniest thing to me. People are so butthurt that they have to spam out that group so people hopefully don't see what's being posted. That amazes me.
Mm-hmm.
We have over 3,000 people now.
Ooh.
Man.
Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. And if you like the content and you have the extra cash, you can always send a super chat for breadsticks. And it makes the haters mad. It makes them flop around like beached whales. Actually, no, beached whales are too sympathetic. That's not a good image.
Man. I feel bad when I think about it.
I feel sad.
I know. I mean, any animal, they can't help it. I know.
Any animal flopping around on a beach. That's a sad image.
I know.
All right, I'm going back to my fat vampires who got hit by holy water.
It's not the same as like
sad for the whale.
It's rolling around in like the McDonald's parking lot, like meat sweats. The meat sweats got me.
The meat sweats.
Yeah, I swear. Okay. Now that image, it will not leave me.
I know. I'm sorry.
Okay. Now the way we should do this, I think I'm going to pull up the 11-page document, and you're going to have him. He's going to talk about the claims. He's going to be like, in paragraph 1, this is noted. So I think we'll pull up the documents side by side, where the claims are. And we still need to go back, like I said, and look at the counterclaims and the answers that they gave, because some of the answers that they gave for some of the initial filing, it's funny. Like I was talking with Megan last night about this. They deny that they're viewers of any social media. Jeremy Hales. I was like, wow, what?
So crazy.
So somebody brought this up to me last night. I didn't think about this. If they don't view any of that, remember that police call that we hear Shara put up? There's a 911 call, and in the background, you can hear Jeremy Hill's video playing. They're listening to it. Like you have.
I love that. I love that you can hear that. It's so freaking funny.
So how can you say that she's not a viewer when there's 911 evidence of her listening to it in the background?
I know. I forgot about that. Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
I did too. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thought that was hilarious. It is, because I mean, it's not just, there's so many levels to that own, because it's a cell phone. No, I don't do that. I don't listen. But you called 911. You had it playing in the background. You're the one who put it on file. What's up?
It's crazy to say that. It's crazy to be like, oh, we don't watch him at all. We don't listen to him at all. And then it's literally on the back of the 911 call. It's
Yeah.
clearly Jeremy's voice. That was one of the more comedic moments of this whole fiasco, was, who's that she's listening to? Well, dang.
There's so many times, they're like, people are telling us what's going on there. And it's like, no, I think you're listening to it.
You're listening to it right now.
Oh my God. I liked that one. I also liked, I think this is a favorite of mine too. Let me pull this one up. I actually like this one as well. So she said, "We have never been served with a cease and desist ever. Prove it." Now, I saw somebody trying to deflect this, and they were saying, well, this is actually about a Northport. And I was like, well, you run into those inconvenient words like ever, never, those are problems. So you have this, and then in their answers, they're like, oh, yeah, we actually have been. I mean, this stuff is like comedy gold in some of it.
I know.
It's like a disconnect or something. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who has the disconnect.
For some reason, I thought you were saying it's a discotheque, and I was thinking, yes, it's it's like a discotheque on LSD with lawyers and judges.
Discotheque. Welcome to the discotheque.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Mars. A discotheque in Mars.
Man.
A discotheque.
Here's their answer to that, by the way, just to throw it in there, since making fun of it, I might as well put it on the screen there. So here's their answers. Admit that the plaintiff had a cease and desist letter sent to the defendant. Whoopsie.
Whoops. What now? What was that now? Wait, you did what now? I never admit it.
Prove it. Okay, well, again, you put it in writing that it's happened. So, I mean, how does that work out? Oh, I love it. Like I said, it's like a comedy farce sometimes. Okay, so let's look at this new filing here. Oh my God. All right, here we go. Now, again, there are, so if you're wondering about filings, the filing I showed you, the 2-page filing, that would be, there's number 73 and 75. 73 would be counterclaim by Cook. You have 75, that is the counterclaim by Preston. This one that I've pulled up here, again, you have, I don't know if these are exact mirrors. I'd have to look at it. You were saying you thought you saw some difference in
the
two?
I do think there's a little bit of difference between the two, but I could be wrong. I had Speechify read them to me earlier.
Okay.
So I don't know. Are we planning on reading both of them?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know yet. It's I see that we have 74 and 76. Actually, what is 77? I'm confused on 70. I'm confused on 77. Is there a difference in 77 and 74?
Do not know.
Look at this. Okay, just looking at the header and everything. All right. So this is. I'm going to make sure you can see. that they're both. Here's 74. Memorandum in support, summary judgment, counterclaim filed by defendant Preston. For Doc 70, we have. This is now that was 74. Okay, just to say. This, I believe, let me make sure I locked in the right one. Yep. This is 77. Okay. It is called Memorandum in Support of Summary Judgment on Counterclaim filed by Defendant Preston, Doc 70. It looks like the same document, but I'm not sure. I'll have to see if there's any. It's the same length, so I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not 100% either. I feel like there was a little bit of a difference between the two, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'd have to check those. Well, again, there's a 74, a 76. The 74 and 76 is Preston, and then there's a Cook, but then there's a 77 with the same name as the Preston file, and it looks like the same doc. But again, I'd have to read them back to back and just check. So anyway, I don't know. I don't know, man. When this many drop, usually I can look at it and I have like most cases, you have a flurry of activity, but it happens on one day, and that's pretty much it. And then you spend a week, compiling, going through everything, making sure that you read everything. Here, it's been nonstop for days now.
I know it never ends.
So the memorandum in support of summary judgment on counterclaim filed by Defendant Preston. You want to do page to page? You want to read?
Sure.
Like that? All right.
Sure.
I'll hit the short one and then you can take over for a hot minute if you want. All right. Where the defendant, or where, as here, counter defendant. That's right. We are the counter defendant. Moves for summary judgment on an issue for which it would not bear the burden of proof at trial. It is not necessary for the defendant to entirely negate the plaintiff's claim. So again, they put in their cases there, noting that we find no express or implied requirement in Rule 56 that the moving party support its motion with affidavits or other similar materials negating the opponent's claim. Emphasis again on original. And it's you.
Instead, the movant has the burden of either negating an essential element of the non-moving party's case or showing that there is no evidence to prove a fact necessary to the non-moving party's case. Okay, so a lot of these words can get confusing. So who is the non-moving party? That would be the defendant, right? Because Jeremy is the one who moved to have this this suit filed in federal court. He wants this heard. This is his petition for a grievance, so he's the moving party. So when they say non-moving party, that is the defendant. So
the movant. It just suddenly switched on us because we'd gotten, we'd had 70 plus documents.
Yeah. So now we have to, in your head, you have to switch movant to plaintiff and non-moving party to defendant. All right. Once a summary judgment movant's initial burden is met, the burden shifts. And that has already happened, right? The burden has been met. The judge said it's going forward. And after that happens, the burden shifts to the non-moving party to bring the court's attention to evidence demonstrating a genuine issue for trial. And then we have case law that states overcoming that burden requires more than speculation or a mere scintilla of evidence.
Yeah. And that's really, and they'll get into breaking things down, but that's essentially what they've done. They're speculating. He actually went in and said that there's this conspiracy behind the scenes involving Randy and involving Jeremy, where Randy, oh man, he's not out there doing his job as a lawyer. Oh no, he's raking in the bacon because, hey, you can keep this going on forever. It's a money maker. It's like, what? Prove any of that? No.
The non-movement must go beyond the pleadings to provide evidence and designate specific facts showing that there is a genuine issue for trial. More case law, internal quotation marks omitted. The non-movement will survive summary judgment in this instance if it can demonstrate that the record in fact contains supporting evidence sufficient to withstand a directed verdict motion. Doe v. Drummond. Okay, so then we go down to statement of material facts. The counterclaims filed by defendant counter plaintiff Preston, hereinafter defendant, so now we're back to defendant, are entirely based upon plaintiff's YouTube content. In fact, counterclaim mentions YouTube content as the basis for each of its 3 counts. I have to run and tell Hangry to go to bed. I'll be right back.
That's fine. This is my page anyway. All right. So In paragraph 1, it notes, again, it breaks this down. And let's actually look at what it's saying here, what they're answering, because this is pretty easy. We have the documents back to back. Let me scroll this down here. Just give me a second. So paragraph 1 that they're answering, it will be, give me 1 second, I'm going to lock in on it. We'll just go back and forth like this. Okay, so paragraph 1 that they're answering here. This is the counterclaim. This is what, again, Preston and Cook, they're throwing out into the world. The plaintiff and his counsel conspired to form a contrived basis for filing litigation against the defendants, not to pursue meritorious legal claims, but to generate ongoing litigation-related YouTube content via polyflop.
Polyflops.
Them polyflops, man. The purposeful protraction of litigation and multiplication of proceedings. Okay, so that's what he's answering in part 1. I think we can flip back and forth. I think this, it takes a second, but I think it's more meaningful this way. So he notes, again, it's saying it's entirely based on plaintiff's YouTube content. So in paragraph 1, litigation related YouTube content via polyflops. Again, it notes what's there. So he's like, hey, right there, you noted it. And that's true. So paragraph 2. And this is what they do. I think it's actually a good way of just pointing out how ridiculous this argument is and how it sounds like an insane conspiracy theory. So part 2, paragraph 2 that he's talking about here, the plaintiff would benefit financially from ongoing litigation, generating fresh, compelling YouTube content, with the aim being to claim or to create as many issues and proceedings along the way as possible. So, again, Randy is saying in that in there, again, they noted ongoing litigation, generating fresh, compelling YouTube content. 2 paragraphs already. Look, almost every paragraph it has that in there. And I bet you, if paragraph 5, we'll see how that. I'm curious what's there where that skips out. So in paragraph 3 is freaking long, man. They're over the blah 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 when I read
blah blah blah. Where?
It is.
Where?
The plaintiff's counsel, this is again the conspiracy. Plaintiff's counsel, they're talking about Randy, would benefit financially from a regular stream of legal fees, funded in part by donations from viewers of plaintiff's YouTube content, focusing on this litigation.
Oh, God. They never stop.
Donations. Yeah, I mean, he's got a good point. Like, they keep hammering this idea like you don't have, and actually they does he bring up YouTube twice? In paragraph 3, it notes it twice actually, because it notes in plaintiff's YouTube content, and then it notes with donations directly to his counsel, file link under his YouTube video. So again, it's about content and videos. So Randy brings that up very briefly. He notes in paragraph 3 his YouTube videos. Now, with paragraph 4, it's fascinating through this. Again, 6, and I mean, you barely, I'm curious how 5 jumps in there, because, we skip 1 out of all of that. And, oh yeah, and that's actually part of the conspiracy theory too. So in paragraph 4, it says, with the legal fees being paid by donors, there would be no limit on counsel's expenditure of billable time, so that he had financial incentive to polymop. Oh my God. They had to put that in there again. Oh,
again?
So, yeah, it's right.
I'm
here.
so sick of it.
It's dumb is what it is. They're so desperate to make a thing happen.
I will say, though, I'm a little disappointed that it ended up in Jeremy's filing. Like, I wouldn't have used it. I wouldn't have used it. I wouldn't have given him the satisfaction.
I would
of
just
using a
because
fake acronym. What are we doing?
I would just because when this comes up in court, I'd be like, yeah, these people are actually monetizing that, which is very strange. Speaking of polyflops, thereby fulfilling the purpose of the plaintiff in bringing a lawsuit, generating ongoing fresh litigation-related YouTube content. Again,
Ugh.
so
Didn't the judge say in the beginning he didn't want to hear about YouTube?
yes, yeah.
Wasn't he like, this case is not about YouTube and I don't want to hear about it? Like, quit saying it. Quit
Yeah,
saying
and
what the plaintiff is doing on YouTube because I don't care. I
well, and
feel
there
like he said that multiple times.
and 5 is really just rehashing. Okay, so it doesn't have 5. I'm not going to put it back to back because we don't need it there, but I will read it. It's very short. It says the plaintiff's interest in contriving storylines for content is symbiotic with his lawyer's interest in maximizing billable time without regard for the consumption of court time and resources. So Jeremy has no right to file litigation. That's what they're telling me because he has a YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's
this
the
is Crazy
Levy.
Town. We have now entered Crazy Town. Everyone, put on your tinfoil hats. We are in Crazy Town.
Now, who pumped that idea into the ears of Levy County prosecutors, I wonder? Because I see it echoed right here in the exact same thing. Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, the Levy County prosecutors for sure act terrible when it comes to Jeremy Hales.
I said, isn't that?
What
I
are
was
you
like, wait a
laughing
minute,
about?
that cup. I was laughing at that cup, man. I was like, isn't that fascinating? And I thought about that fucking cup.
And then you thought about your cup.
Yeah. I thought, man, I need a little button for that to pop up just because. It was like, isn't that fascinating?
I didn't realize you say it as much as you do, but you do. It's a real
Yeah,
tuggism.
it is. Somebody, bro, they're like, you say certain things like they were talking about catchphrases. You should put these on TV. I was thinking, what all are catchphrases? And I was like, I know, like fun times.
Yeah,
Isn't that
fun
fascinating?
times.
Apparently comes up a lot.
It's funny.
Oh, there's such a snide fucking way it comes up too. That's what I can't remember who I was talking to the other day. They were like, it's not just that it comes up, it's just the way that it comes up. Isn't that fascinating? Okay, so 6, they talk about the device the plaintiff contrived for the basis of federal lawsuits and accompanying YouTube storylines. So again, about YouTube, were defamatory roadside signs falsely alleged by him in 28 of the complaint as having been created by defendants. So again, on that one, give me a moment here. I love the fact that he just tore this apart there. He's like, oh, looky. That's there, talking about the basis of. Yep. And as far as 7, he could have gone after this. They're also, you notice they're really salty about money too. They're always salty about money. I mean, they're making more money. They're getting more freaking dough than they've probably ever seen in a lifetime off of this stuff.
Oh, for sure. Which is why they're not going to stop. Because why would they? This is the best grift they've ever had, ever.
Yeah.
And the idea that somehow Jeremy can't do anything but talk about these people is insane.
Is it true there's a new grift, by the way? People should.
I don't know. I don't listen to. I don't watch. I haven't listened to that nastiness in weeks. So I don't know what they're talking about.
Like I looked at the breakdown. I watch So You Don't Have to. What is Pam writes out? I read those.
Oh God, I love Pam's breakdowns. They're amazing. Yeah, it has saved me from having to listen to this garbage. But apparently, they're raising. I don't know. I heard they're raising money for something else now. Some animal fund. I don't know.
Yeah, something.
Who cares?
My dog ate my homework, or a beach towel. I don't remember.
The dog ate my homework.
Or my beach towel, or my best friend's phone. I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh my God. I don't even know. But let's see. Also 7. So 7's on there. The plaintiff framed the defendants. He framed the defendants. So he could accuse them of being responsible for the signs as the basis for filing his present lawsuit. You know, that's fascinating considering their answer was to say, actually, Jeremy did it. So when they talk about trying to frame people, you know, their answer, like we've turned into a joke, is blame Jeremy. Oh, it was Jeremy. He did it.
They better have some evidence that he did this to himself.
Oh, yeah, man.
This is further defaming him. I mean, it's just like, what the heck? Although I know that in a court case, you're pretty much indemnified from saying anything.
Yeah, but if that's the only defense they have, well, actually,
he did it. He called himself a child arpist. Yeah, that works. Sure. What a defense. What a defense.
I'm telling you, well, there weren't enough people that saw it on the side. You know, this whole idea, I don't even know how this became part of everything. They're like, actually, the signs, if they were up, they were only up for an hour. What? How do you know they went up that day? How do you know they weren't there before? Are we sure? We sure just people didn't see them? They didn't go up.
Well, think about this. Think about how many people would have to be involved if Jeremy was the one who did this. He was in Ohio, so he would have had to have recruited people to post these fake signs. So he wrote them before he left for Ohio, right? That this is the theory. And then he recruited somebody else or several persons to then go and plant them around town and then go find them. What?
They want to pretend it's not a big problem. I got thinking about this too. They reached out to the ADL because he said a guy has a big nose. Right? They tried to cancel him with that. They tried to cancel him politically. They tried to cancel him with the LGBTQ crowd because he was reading John Cook statements. And, you know, imagine if they would have had these same signs. Like if Jeremy would have done something like that to someone else, which, you know, of course, is not happening. But if that was even close to that.
Somebody in the chat goes, my tortoise stepped on a bee.
Oh, yeah, I heard that the other day. That was really funny. Poor tortoise. That's why it was laying on its back. It was trying to get the stinger out. And that's why I dug holes. It was trying to get away from the bees. I get it. I never knew that. Now with that paragraph 7, though, again, it notes litigation to create. And the only thing that's after that, again, is, you know that was fake. You did this because it was malicious. Oh, they've had to deal with inner, you know, classification, buzzword, et cetera, and emotional distress. So all of their quote unquote proof, there's nothing here. Like there's absolutely nothing in count 1. Like, what are you basing anything on? I mean, there is nothing.
Well, yeah, like where's the evidence for it? Like, how come they didn't attach anything? Why are we not seeing any evidence?
They're saying there's multiplication of proceedings. Okay, so Jeremy went and he got a protective order, which he is totally allowed to do, and he won, by the way. He got his protective order. Okay, so after he gets his protective order, he's dealing with Preston, who has filed a protective order. She ends up having to drop it because of all of the insanity that came up with that case. I mean, we don't need to rehash it, but my God, in there. Then Jeremy files his federal litigation. Now, we've had them in the meantime. They have filed thumbnail litigation. They've gone after many just random people. They went after people for going on property when they were invited by someone that lives there to pick up their stuff with a trespass 5. So, I mean, if we're thinking about the multiplication of proceedings, they have more cases than he does.
They have a lot more cases. They have a lot more cases than he does.
I mean, it's crazy. And they've been threatening everybody and their mother, too, you know, so... yeah, for them to say, well, it's just kind of ridiculous. So that whole idea that, well, Jeremy did it again. How are we blaming him when? Now, count 2. So let's go back to the other document. It mentions count 2, and it mentions paragraph 15. So in paragraph 15, it talks about YouTube storylines. So, my God, man. Let me roll down here. 15. And that's how it starts, by the way. You know, it starts with their conspiracy about that. That's actually most of the statement. Let's see. Yeah, it's actually a much shorter. If you look through the thumbnail litigation, it's this just whining huge motion. You know, it just keeps on going forever.
Oh, that's the worst motion. That one's the worst one. The thumbnail. Well, maybe not.
No,
The Trespass 5 is
Trespass
worse.
5 is worse.
Yeah, that one's worse because it keeps Jeremy's not a defendant, and yet all he
6
can do
pages
is
of him.
all they can do is
Veteran
talk about Jeremy Hales.
I mean, even brought in Veteran Nation, though. I was like, what in the world is going on? I've never seen this before. I love it. So in 15, you know, it's again, we're in count 2 now. The plaintiff has misappropriated the defendant's image and likeness by placing them on video thumbnails.
And where are they? Where are those? Where are these pictures of her on the thumbnails that they think that they say are so offensive and upsetting?
Well, if they're offensive and upsetting, you know what's crazy about it is they're her likeness. Like, he's not having to change them up. These are pictures of her from
my favorite one is when she's screaming at Randy that you're not a nice person. and they caught her face when she's screaming and like her mouth is open. Like, hey, Lynette, you did that. You made those faces in a deposition. No one did anything to your face. That's just the way it looks. And you're pissed.
I feel like it's like that all the time, probably then. You know, I mean, just being honest. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, when he lists this is all about YouTube because it's video thumbnails in order to advertise videos, bad neighbor videos in which the defendant appears involuntarily as villains in the plaintiff's contrived YouTube storylines. So he's like, yo, this whole thing is about YouTube. That's all that's there. And it's a good point, by the way. You know, he's like, look at this.
Hey, Cheryl, by the way, Cheryl just sent me $5 on Cash App. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome of you, Cheryl.
Thank you,
Cheryl's cool. She did that to me too. Man.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, that's it always.
This is Tug's night, you know? It's Tug's night for the super chats, but I appreciate the tip once in a while. It's nice.
Yeah. Jason, no, you did that yesterday with that.
That's right.
You know, equal opportunity. That's awesome.
It's awesome. No, like I said, we have
cool
the best chat. We really do.
Somebody, I'm going to say KP also. I don't want to miss this one. Sent a 15 there, and it's asking about the PO box. Can I'm gonna make sure I message them back. But if one of the mods, if you could put up the PO box, if you have it handy, I need to put it in the. I keep forgetting to put it in the video description, so I'm gonna put it in there because. Yeah, there's all kinds of. I love the weird stuff.
If you have anything to send, you can send it to me at his PO box too. He'll put a box together for me eventually and send it my way.
Yeah, I've got 3 packages that are coming over, and I have shown. I always make sure again if you note that there's a package there. If I'm going to send it over, I am going to look inside just to make sure, you know, it's not ticking or anything crazy. You know, just to know.
Tug checks my mail.
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to be, you know. Oh Lord, I'd be like, well, alas for Tug.
Make sure it's not ticking.
So in count 3, now count 3 again, that is the invasion of privacy by unauthorized publication. So 19 starts off.
Is this my turn?
Yeah, you want to, here, let me pull up.
Sure.
let me pull up the do you want to actually, that's a really short, it's only got 5 pieces. You want to read the count 3? That way we understand what
Sure.
count 3 is. Count 3 is the, when I was looking at it, I was like, how is this really different from this? Because of the invasion of privacy versus 540.08.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. The plaintiff has published the defendant's photo, image, and/or likeness on his YouTube page and in video thumbnails on many occasions. Again, they don't put them in there.
Yeah. And this is what Randy is going to answer, by the way. This one out of here, because it says
just
YouTube.
that one. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll go back then. Or do you want me to keep reading?
Yeah. There's only 5 of these. Let's just read these.
All right. Every publication of the defendant's photo, image, and/or likeness by the plaintiff has been unauthorized. And the plaintiff's publication of the defendant's photo, image, and/or likeness has been intended to humiliate and mock the defendant. Again, so what? The plaintiff's publication of if that's true, so what? The plaintiff's publication of the defendant's photo, image, and/or likeness has invaded the defendant's privacy. The invasion of the defendant's privacy by the plaintiff via unauthorized publication of his photo, image, and/or likeness has caused the defendant to suffer damages.
Here's my problem too. Okay, so they whine and moan if the picture is used. Then if it's not used, they whine and moan because their names are used. But if you make up a nickname for them, they whine and moan. They're like,
they don't like that either.
Yeah,
they don't like that either.
So what they're telling you is you can only cover on my terms.
Yeah.
My terms. I'm like, man, are you freaking kidding me, people?
Yeah, that's crazy. The invasion of the defendant's privacy by the plaintiff via unauthorized publication of his photo, image, and/or likeness has caused the defendant to suffer damages. Now, the only photo they used of John Cook are the ones that are his mugshot.
Mugshots. Mm-hmm.
And then ones that were taken on a public street that Jeremy owns the copyright to. Image, and/or likeness, and has caused the defendant to suffer damages. I'd like to know what. Including but not limited to severe emotional distress. Sorry, that makes me laugh. John Cook is not emotionally distressed. Emotionally disturbed, yes.
Oh man, I've still got to cover some of that stuff that's come up with Travis. We haven't even gotten to all that mess. I want to talk a little bit more about that, but not tonight. We will. All of that. We're talking about John Cook. That made me think about it.
Mm-hmm. The plaintiff's publication of the defendant's photo, image, and/or likeness has invaded the defendant's privacy. The invasion of the defendant's privacy by the plaintiff via unauthorized publication of his photo, image, and/or likeness has caused the defendant to suffer damages, including but not limited to severe emotional distress.
Okay, so that's his answers for. That's him responding. That's the entire counterclaim, by the way. That is the counterclaim. So if you're thinking, well, maybe there's more. No. Okay, well, there's one other sentence. Let me be fair. They request a bench trial. There was also that as well.
Yeah, right. They want a bench trial, which is completely understandable. Only the first smart thing that their attorney has done is ask for a bench trial, because these two are not going to play well to a jury.
No, that's why they don't. That's actually why they don't want video of the depositions. Let's be real.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely why.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. We don't need video. Fine, don't do video. But it's still not going to work.
Well, there's already video. I hate to tell them, but there's video depo that's already been produced, and everything that they lock in as storylines, everything that they've tried to say when they brought up the child, they're going to do this or that, like suing on behalf of not just them, but also on the child's behalf. Again, this allows Jeremy Hales to bring up everything. They open the floodgates, and again, the judge can decide what is or isn't relevant, but he had no action before to bring up. Why would he ever have to bring up the kid, for example? But they brought it in. They're like, oh, well, we're going to sue. We're going to bring up something related to, okay, All right, since you're mentioning that, well, let's talk about reasons why somebody might actually have some kind of concern. And let's see if a judge thinks that's legitimate. You know, hey, let's look at some of those Shara messages, which BBB again knows about. He confirms. And let's see if that's any reason to be concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, all right, so that's that part. All right, this is you, right?
Okay.
Here.
All right, here we go. Defendant has not produced a single example from YouTube, exactly, or anywhere else to support count 1. This is because defendant cannot produce any such evidence as it simply does not exist.
That's right.
It doesn't.
How could it? It says that there is this conspiracy between Randy and Jeremy, which is it's so insane. You know,
Doesn't exist. In this count, defendant alleges 1, the plaintiff framed the defendant so he could accuse them of being responsible for the signs as the basis for filing his present lawsuit, creating litigation to generate YouTube content. The plaintiff's accusations that the defendants planted the signs were and are false and known to be false by plaintiff, and the plaintiff's statements accusing the defendants of creating and planting the signs were made and continue to be made with malicious intent to injure the defendants. And then we go to Florida's single action rule.
He alleged a lot more than that, by the way, Randy. He alleged that you are in a conspiracy.
Yeah.
With him. That's what I would be pointing out. Not that this is too nice. This is sometimes what I think with Randy's stuff. I think Randy, he wrecks the quote unquote logic to it, but sometimes he doesn't go far enough. Like if he were to say something, you know, that talks about the anti-Hales immediate ecosystem, they try to pretend like that's all a conspiracy and stuff, but you have proof of that. They've just whipped up a conspiracy out of thin air, pretty much to deflect away from what they've been doing. I would have wrecked them for that. I would have. I'd have gone hard. But I mean, again, see, I just think sometimes like it's it's like, really? Because, I mean, that makes it sound like they had some kind of reasonable statements in there. And it wasn't about the signs. It was really about, man, there's this conspiracy. Him and his lawyer, they want to put together this ongoing money, and they framed these people. And then the signs come in. Anyway.
What were we at? Florida's single action rule. Count 1 of the counterclaim is simply the recasting of a defamation claim as additional distinct cause of action in tort. So let me read that again. Hold on. Count 1, the counterclaim is simply the recasting of a defamation claim as additional distinct cause of action in tort. This is not allowed in Florida in accordance with the single publication, single action rule. The rule is designed to prevent plaintiffs from circumventing a valid defense to defamation by recasting essentially the same facts into several causes of action, all meant to compensate for the same harm. This is interesting.
Yeah, so they can't reframe. That's what I mean. This is why I say that Jeremy's wrecking their idea. They are. I mean, this is, when you think about it, it sounds so nice when he's saying it. But he's saying, look, you can't take our cause of action and then say it a different way and be like, hey, actually, we have a cause of action. You know,
right.
You can't take you defame us and then are like, well, about that defamation.
Yeah, right. All right, let's see. Where were we? From the same. Inasmuch.
No, be right here.
No, the rule precludes the recasting of defamation claims as additional distinct causes of action in tort if all the claims arise from same defamatory publication. Inasmuch as the defendant has produced no evidence at all, not even a single example within the entire counterclaim, the conclusion is that there's no such publication which fits the elements of intentional infliction of emotional distress. Good night, Hangry.
Good night.
Love you.
Love you, Chair.
Yeah.
Good night.
Night, little one.
Tug says good night, little one.
Good night, Tug.
Good night, little sir.
He's laughing. All right, go to bed. Close my door sweetheart. Thank you. Okay. I let him stay up too late. That's what happens
man.
when Dad is home, when Dad doesn't get home early.
Yeah, that's what my kids, they take advantage of like me streaming and stuff, and they're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you can't
Well,
make me stay in bed.
you know what's
Yeah.
funny is that I was like the main parent, for the girls, because he was working all the time and whatnot. But when the boy came along, he really took over a lot of it, and he puts him to bed every night. My husband puts Hangry to bed every single night, and that's just like a little ritual that they've had from the beginning, which I think he really enjoys because the girls always wanted me, and the boy
That's
wants
funny.
him.
The
Yeah.
girls, like for me, the girls started as mama's girls. Well, in the very beginning, they don't care either one, but they do want mama. And then you get to about somewhere between 3 and 4. It's like dad,
Yeah.
dad. And then around 5, it's like, oh yeah, dad's got the coolest stuff. Especially me. I'm like, man, dad watches the coolest stuff. Dad enjoys, and I'm not the disciplinarian, like
Yeah.
I wouldn't be. Like I'm a lot softer on some of this stuff there.
Daddies always are softer, I swear.
Man, for
And
little girls, it's like they really do.
they melt
People
your
are like,
heart.
yeah, they're like, oh, they got you tied around their face. Like, yeah, so what?
Yes, they're supposed to. That's their
Yeah.
job.
Yep.
Yeah, so
I mean,
Mr. Fox puts him to bed every night. They have their little routine, but when he's not here to put him to bed and I'm streaming, I'm always like, oh crap, what time is it? I was supposed to put him to bed an hour ago. And I did put him to bed at the right time. I told him to go to bed, but then he was like, can I take a shower? How do you say no to that? Right?
yep.
You gotta let him take the shower because,
Yep.
you just
They're like,
do.
I don't want to be crusty. You're like, oh,
Right.
yes, for sure.
Okay.
Do it.
Yes, take the shower. Oh, he had such a rough day today. I had to take him to the allergist and he had to get like all the testing, and they stabbed him in the back like 60 times and in the arm 24 times.
Oh,
He had to
no.
sit through 24 little shots in the
I
arm.
did that one time, man. That sucks. That sucks.
It
I feel for it, man.
sucked. And you know what? He didn't start crying until like they were probably on number 50. So like the last 10 were just like super
Man, he
hard
did good
for him.
then there.
Oh, he did great, but he had a rough day, man. I was not expecting it to be that bad. But he's allergic to everything. We discovered that he's allergic to absolutely everything. So now I'm buying dust mite covers for his bed and his pillows. It's like a whole thing.
Well, when he tells people, he's like, man, when he gets older, he's like, I'm allergic to stupid. Like I always tell people that. That's why I laugh a lot. It's actually an allergy freaking reaction. I break out in laughs.
You're like, I can't help it. You should try that defense in court when Bruce sues you. I'm just allergic to stupid, Your Honor. All right, where were we? All right, not even a single example within the entire counterclaim. The conclusion is that there is no such publication which fits the elements, and this is the important part, which fits the elements of intentional infliction of emotional distress. I would like to know about that video they produced of my image and Jeremy's image. Do you think that was intended to inflict emotional distress?
Oh, indeed. Indeed. That right there.
If simulating a sex act? Like
Yes.
that's definitely. Has anyone here done that to
Not just
Lynette?
that, the ecosystem was sharing, and they were totally proud of that.
And they were telling people that there was adult content in it as if they were sharing some what of me, which they weren't, because there isn't anything like that out there. If anyone tells you that there is, it's a lie. Crazy.
I think
But it
somebody
really-
got hurt too. They pulled up in when their new items. I have a Tug avatar with Rastafarian hair, and they went and pulled that up, and they had to put it into there. Oh my God! I think actually they thought that was somehow Jewish. I don't think they recognized it. Yeah, if you look at the anti-Semitic,
God.
yeah, if you look at that article accusing everybody of that, they picked out that specific avatar, and I kept thinking, I was like, why would they pick that avatar?
Because they're stupid and they don't know what
They probably
they're talking
thought.
about.
They actually probably thought that had something to do. The hair. was somehow,
Oh, they mistook it for
reflection of,
the Orthodox curls or something.
I was like, wait a minute. I thought about that for a few days.
I think
and then
we
I was
need a rabbi tug, though. I think we do. I think we need a
that
rabbi
was
tug.
so hilarious. You know.
I like Rasta tug, though. Rasta tug is fun.
Yeah, I like him too, you know. Actually, what's funny is the artist that created him, oh, he's allowed to do that. So,
Yes. In order to state a cause of action for intentional infliction of emotional distress, the plaintiff must demonstrate that the defendant acted recklessly or intentionally. The defendant's conduct was extreme and outrageous. The defendant's conduct caused the plaintiff's emotional distress. And plaintiff's emotional distress was severe.
I have anxiety over the roof.
Defendant cannot produce any evidence that the YouTube videos were not protected speech, which Mr. Hales has under his First Amendment rights. The freedom to speak one's mind is not only an aspect of individual liberty, and thus a
good unto itself, but also is essential. You notice how he's slow? Like, it's so funny when you put us back to back speaking, because I speak so slow.
I know.
It's like, anybody keeping up? Maybe I can speak this fast. No, I can only do it for a little while. And thus a good unto itself, but also is essential to the common quest for truth and the vitality of society as a whole. I like that. That's actually a good quote.
Uh-huh.
You know? That's a good quote. The freedom to speak one's mind is not only an aspect of individual liberty and thus a good unto itself, but also is essential to the common quest for truth and the vitality of society as a whole. Yeah. Oh man, they quote Hustler v. Falwell.
Yeah.
That's
Isn't this
awesome.
something? Isn't this something? I'm really this was a landmark case, by the way.
Oh,
if
it
you've ever
was.
watched The People versus Larry Flint, it has the entire story of how that happened. And for sure, it's something that everybody should read. If you haven't watched the movie, read the ruling. But it's a landmark case for free speech.
Well, what's their defense going to be? You know, are they going to hold out the fats and be like, they call him fat? And we're like, well,
Yeah.
I mean, like it's a statement of truth. Well, well. Oh my God. Anyway, Hustler magazine v. Falwell, 1988. That was a huge decision too. If nobody's ever gone back, if you've never, again, I know the material will offend some people, period, about but that's not what the case is about. The case is about the ability to go out and to speak, have your First Amendment rights protected. So the Supreme Court rejected the notion that the concept of outrageousness, which is an element of the tort of intentional infliction of emotional distress, would provide sufficient protection to the First Amendment rights of a defendant. Outrageousness in the area of political and social discourse has an inherent subjectiveness about it, which would allow a jury rather, to impose liability on the basis of jurors' tastes or views, and perhaps on the basis of their dislike of a particular expression. Indeed, and this is something that we run into all the time. This is where you have to be very careful about something. You know, you can't let a jury go in and just decide because something they consider it tact or tasteless, that automatically becomes a problem. And that's a problem that we see a lot of times with Jeremy defending himself. You know, oh my God, he called somebody, walrus, going to bat. Oh my God. You know, people are trying to train wreck his life. I mean, we'll leave that part out there. But yeah, I mean, that's not a problem. I mean, again, if you consider that outrageousness, oh man, an outrageousness standard thus runs afoul of a long-standing refusal to allow damages to be awarded because the speech in question may have an adverse emotional impact on the audience. NCAA, Claiborne Hardware Company, 1982. Speech does not lose its protected character simply because it may embarrass others or coerce
There you
them
go.
into action.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
And these are all landmark cases, by the way. Landmark free speech cases. The idea that Bruce is trying to challenge landmark free speech cases cracks me up. It's not going to work. It is not going to work. Satire is allowed. Comedy is allowed. You are allowed to mock people who act ridiculous. You know what? You're even allowed to mock people who aren't ridiculous. Look at all the politicians and people who make fun of perfectly okay people, but they get mocked like crazy. It's not illegal to do so. Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's trying to make fetch happen with the First Amendment. It's really kind of pissing me off.
I love like you're like, no.
Stop it.
You can't do that to me.
You cannot do that.
You will not let it happen. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, and as we stated, FCC versus Pacifica Foundation. That was 78. Again, I usually don't say, hey, look at these. But if you look up, again, landmark cases.
These are landmark cases.
Yes.
These are famous cases. These are not, this is not just your average, nothing case.
Yeah.
These are big time cases.
Yeah. I mean, some of these, they have sculpted what we rely on for parody, for comedy.
Yeah. And judges, by the way, when they see these cases, they stay way far away from them because it's settled, it's decided, it's litigated, it's over.
Yeah, they don't want a piece of that.
No,
because otherwise
they don't want to be the laughing stock of a judge who made an order that goes against a landmark free speech case. Are you kidding? It would destroy their career forever. Yeah. We'd all be laughing at them because the appeals court would strike it down immediately.
So the fact that society may find speech offensive is not a sufficient reason for suppressing it. Indeed.
This is why I hate it when people say stuff like, talk about hate speech.
Yes.
There is no such thing as hate speech. The people who have convinced you that there is such a thing as hate speech, they're not being honest with you. There isn't. There's no such thing. There's speech you don't like. There's speech that is hateful. But that's free speech. You might not like it, but the answer is more speech, not less.
Well, people outside the U.S. especially don't understand how this is driven into us. And also, here's the kicker, and this is especially reflected in the Southern mentality that's been just smashed into my brain since I was little. You never give away a right because you will never get it back. Ever. Never
give it away. I will never forget it. I was in Chicago when the KKK marched through Skokie, which is a large Jewish neighborhood in Chicago. And it was hotly debated, and it ended up that the people of Skokie were like, no, we let them march, because if we don't let them march, eventually, we won't be able to speak either. And it was kind of interesting because what happened was, they did march, but all the people of the neighborhood showed up in counter protest and way outnumbered the KKK. And so there were counter protests.
We used to go down to, so they would have marches in Pulaski, where they started, Tennessee, Pulaski, Tennessee. So you go down there and laugh and ridicule them. Oh my God, it's so much fun.
That's what's fun is more speech,
Just get I don't know how it is out of these, but you're just talking about a bunch of like a 7 inbred rubes and some prison cons. you got a bunch of freaking cops out there enough, so you just sit around and relentlessly mock the shit out of these people. It's kind of a bonding experience. It was, in fact, I felt like until we had the rise of the internet, I felt like a lot of this, you had your foot on its back as far as these true hate groups, and then then with the internet, man. But anyway, I'm getting off the topic there. So indeed, if it is the speaker's opinion that gives offense, that is right. That's what, like, listen to this here. Actually, I want to read it all together. The fact that society may find speech offensive is not sufficient reason for suppressing it. Indeed, if it is the speaker's opinion that gives offense, that consequence is a reason for according it constitutional protection. Indeed, indeed. For it is a central tenet of the First Amendment that the government must remain neutral in the marketplace of ideas. Indeed. We are supposed to have the ability to speak, whether or not it offends people. That does not see. This will get twisted, and they'll be like, "Well, what about?" Well, it doesn't protect you when you go out and call people PDF files and you plaster it around neighborhoods. Sorry,
Right. That's not free speech. That's defamation, and there's a difference. Ridiculing somebody, mocking them, humiliating them, that's free speech. Dumbasses. But if you lie, if you tell lies and falsehoods, if you say actionable things, it's actionable. It's defamation.
Oh, by the way, so tomorrow I'm going on 2 weeks without a Coke.
Really? Look at
Yes,
you.
no Cokes, man, none at all. I also have not had any. I can't say you don't have any sugar because, I mean, you know, some stuff has sugar in it, but mainly
Sure.
I haven't been eating anything with sugar if I can avoid it. But there has been no candy, no snacks, none of that shit. I was like, you know what? Don't need it in my life. So, man,
Well,
2
good.
weeks. So weird. So weird to get past that.
That's
I actually
great,
like
though.
it.
Good for you.
What's too expensive these days out there? When you go to the store and like a 6-pack of Cokes is $5.18 here. I'm like, what? I remember, you know, just a couple of years ago, I'd walk into the gas station and I would mock the idea that a Coke would cost $1 at a gas station. Now they cost $1 on the ringer in the store. No, I don't need that in my life. I just cut that shit out anyway.
Yeah,
But
I need
anyway,
to quit. I drink Diet Coke, which is probably not good for me either. All that aspartame or whatever.
Let's see. And it is firmly settled that the public expression of ideas may not be prohibited merely because the ideas are themselves offensive to some other hearers. That's true too, you know, because otherwise, again, all of these freaking cases are landmark. When we see Hustler Mag v. Falwell, though, that one is brought up all the freaking time. All right. This is you there.
All right. In Snyder v. Phelps, the Supreme Court extended the First Amendment's protection even beyond actions for intentional infliction of emotional distress to include claims for the violation of plaintiffs' privacy rights and for civil conspiracy. Moreover, the Snyder Court relied on Hustler magazine v. Falwell. The free speech clause of the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech, can serve as a defense in state tort suits, including suits for intentional infliction of emotional distress. Defendant can produce no evidence and hasn't even included any such evidence in the counterclaim itself, where the First Amendment does not defeat the claim for intentional infliction of emotional distress. This means that this claim fails as a matter of law. Hales is entitled to judgment as a matter of law as to count 3, invasion of privacy by unauthorized publication. Defendant has not produced a single example from YouTube or anywhere else to support count 3. To show invasion of privacy based on the publication of private facts, a plaintiff must prove 4 elements. 1, the disclosure was public. And 2, this is you.
Just give me a second. I'm catching it there. And 2, private facts were disclosed. I actually started slower and I was like, how slow can I make this? Private facts were disclosed. 3, the matter publicized was highly offensive to a reasonable person. And 4, the matter is not a legitimate concern to the public. Okay, so think about the 4 elements there. Disclosure's public. Okay. 2, the private facts were disclosed. What private facts?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't even understand the private facts that are supposed to be disclosed. You know, she admits, this is the fascinating thing too. She actually admits to taking photographs telling people that she lived across the street from Jeremy Hales. She decided to make Facebook groups talking about how Jeremy Hales was all these terrible things. She admits to quite a few things of bringing this to the public herself. So it wasn't Jeremy Hales that was bringing this up. Jeremy Hales oftentimes is responding to stupid, you know, and there's stupid that's happening in the community that kept going as well. But the matter publicized was highly offensive to a reasonable person. Where was that at? And the matter is not a legitimate concern to the public. Again, you know, public interest, really? You're going to be able to say there's no public interest. So defendant's claim about publishing the defendant's photograph, image, and or likeness on YouTube page and video thumbnails on many occasions. If this were the case, then it is difficult to explain why the defendant has not produced a single example of this publication. This is because the defendant cannot produce any evidence that would show the defendant's photo, image, and or likeness on YouTube page or video thumbnails were not already publicized elsewhere. That's true. Or republicized. That's right. A photograph taken in a public place is not private. That is indeed true. That is 100%. And, you know, sometimes I hate that idea too, but it is the reality. It protects us from a lot of problems there. Defendant cannot produce any evidence that would show the defendant's photo, image, or likeness on plaintiff's YouTube page or video thumbnails were not taken in public place. Facts taken from public record or proceedings are not private. So this is the thing to lock in there. Public spaces, public records, proceedings. Those things are not private. So if she has a deposition proceeding, well, her case that she moved forward, by the way, and dismissed too, so she can't say that it was a meritorious claim in any way because she decided to drop it. Now she could again decide to refile something if she wishes, but she dropped it. So, defendants cannot produce any evidence that would show the defendant's photograph, image, and or likeness on the YouTube page or video thumbnails were not taken for public record or proceedings. That's right. That's what I was saying. All of this stuff is her, and it is her in public. That's 100%. Even otherwise, private facts may become public when acquired by legitimate means. Defendant cannot produce any evidence that would show that. It's you.
The defendant's photo, image, and or likeness on plaintiff's YouTube page and in video thumbnails were not acquired by Hangry. Why are you out of bed?
Get in your bed, boy.
All right, well, close the door. Nobody wants to hear you peeing. Close the door.
Yes, people brought up too. I forget.
Yes, I will wait. I will. Okay, sorry. The defendant's photo, image, and or likeness on plaintiff's YouTube. Okay, hold on.
Fine. One thing that people have noted as well, since she's dealing with that, is also talking about interviews. She has sought out the media. She's gone out of her way. So, I mean, again, she doesn't mind when her likeness is out there in the media, when she likes what's being spun. In fact, I said she's even, after threatening with a thumbnail litigation, the same kind of claims that she's aiming at Jeremy, she threatened me with. I covered that in a video, the video that she was talking about there and making threats over. I was covering where they went to the media. That was right there in the very beginning. So for her to try to make claims and to say, I don't want my image out there. Oh yeah, you did. You very much did. It's easily proven. Like when those media cameras fire up or when Bruce is wanting to send something around, oh, they 100% enjoy it. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Consent is never even reached where no disclosure of private facts can be demonstrated. This means that consent is not an issue in this case. Finally, the right to privacy does not forbid the publication of information that is of public benefit or general interest, and the right does not exist as to persons and events in which the public has a rightful interest. Defendant can produce no evidence and hasn't even included any such evidence in the counterclaim itself, where the above does not apply. This means this claim fails as a matter of law, and he's entitled to judgment as to count 2. Defendant has not produced a single example from YouTube or anywhere else to support count 2. Section 540.08 of the Florida statute prohibits the unauthorized use of a person's name or likeness for trade, commercial, or advertising purposes. Tyne versus Time Warner. Okay.
I'm trying to find where. Okay, let's see. So there's one, section 540 prohibits using a person's name or likeness to directly promote a product or service. Okay. And with another one, the Epic Metals Corp, the 540.08 prevents the unauthorized use of name or personality to directly promote the product or service of a publisher. National Football League versus Alley. Section 540 of the Florida statute prohibits unconsented use of the individual name or likeness only when such directly promotes commercial product or services. Defendant can prove no evidence or produce no evidence and hasn't even included any such evidence in the counterclaim itself where the above does not apply. This means it fails as a matter of law. Indeed. So the conclusion here is because there is no evidence to prove a fact necessary to the defendant's counterclaim, Mr. Hales is entitled to summary judgment as a matter of law. Indeed, they have garbage claims.
Garbage.
It is 100%. When I look at this, I mean, half of this is arguing the same thing we've seen argued before.
Yes, it's always the same. Always the same. There's nothing new. We've already heard all of this.
They try to shove their polyflops in there. You know, that's really all this is. They brought that up so they can market polyflops. Yeah. Again, I don't understand. We brought this up last night. If using likenesses commercially and more, then polyflops is a problem for them. And it has been archived. I'm going to note this one more time. So if you look up a polyflop, this is what you get for a search term. Okay. This is the first thing that you hit on. You hit on them copywriting it, by the way. They try to copyright it because they want to commercially utilize that, which is so ridiculous. It's so cringy. But that's their website, by the way. Okay. Now, they have already engaged in the commercialization of polyflop too. Oh my God. All those freaking peen pictures. Gross. Their website has a bunch of peen pictures. It's gross, man.
That's gross, man.
Yeah. But you could see they've already started marketing and everything else. But if you were like, hey, I wonder what the old polyflop means. Well, interestingly, if you go into the website where that is talking about, the only image, the only thing that you get is this, which is again archived. I've already archived it. You can see the archive link right up here. So it is good to go. It is already archived as a matter of record. You'll notice there is a copyright across the bottom. They have their little crown with their polyflop across it. And look who they put there. Randy. Huh. So they want to complain about unauthorized use and trying to monetize something to make it real. This is the only thing they added there. And even if they change it later on, they've already marketed it as such. So whoopsie, that's a big screw up.
That's a huge screw up.
Yeah. They have already been monetary. I mean, God. So ridiculous. All right. I'm going to do super chats. You sticking for supers or you out?
No, I gotta go check on Hangry. I don't think he went to bed.
Okay.
So I think I better go.
Okay. I'll catch you. Tomorrow, just to note, we will be on Megan's channel. So what are we doing tomorrow? Who knows? I mean,
who knows?
It depends on
who knows what will happen between now and then. My God, it's just so insane. So, until tomorrow, everyone, I will see
right.
you again.
See ya. All right. So let me give some love to RR for there was a cash app that came through for $20. Thank you, RR. Again, I go with initials because I don't know. I just want to make sure there. I want to go with TT. You know what I'm talking about there. Sent a 2 for breadsticks as well. That is awesome. Thank you for that. And I had C. You know what I'm talking about there. C sent a $5 as well. Thank you, C. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. All right, so let's check these out. So Sticky Widget, thanks for the 5 gifted memberships, kicking it off. Thank you, Sticky. Appreciate you, my friend. Hope you're doing good, by the way. Jag, what's up, Jaguar? Thank you for the $10 super sticker there. That's awesome, too. I saw that early on. That was cool. Thank you. PDW, thanks for the 4 months. Both of you worked together so well. Yeah, thank you. I think we have a lot of fun with it, too. We've got the revolving stream right this moment too, so that'll be a lot of fun. Again, make sure that you're here tomorrow or over on her channel tomorrow, and then we'll be back on Thursday, and we just continue to have fun. Wendy Bono, thanks for the 5. Got my hot beverage, snack, and a warm blanket. Let's make the haters lose it. Indeed. Indeed. We'll see what the judge does. Again, a lot of filings. I mean, we have had, just again to point it out, we had these new filings today, but when you look at the date range, what's crazy is heck, if you want to really get into it, check this out. You want to see just how nuts this stuff is. Since February kicked off, we're 11 days into February, right? You can see we have 64, 65. Well, we have 64 as an order. Then on 65, we have on the 4th. We have 66 as an order. Then we had 67 dropped in, right after they were told, hey, you need to do something about discovery, 14 days. Well, they dropped 67 in, 68. Then we have 69, 70. Notice the dates on there. There's the 5th, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, and then Randy, all this stuff for their responses to everything that they papered the court with. I mean, they absolutely papered the court, which is wild when you think about it. So, I mean, the amount of litigation, man, yeah. They have definitely lived. They've been trying to celebrate like they've won something. And it's like making motions doesn't mean you win. They don't seem to understand that. It's a strange thing. You would think after there have been so many denials, but then again, I guess they spin denials as wins. So, I don't know. Misbehaving, thank you for the gifted membership. Hey, doing Misbehaving, thank you. Daily Dysfunction, thank you for a gifted membership as well. Thank you, Daily Dysfunction. Appreciate you. DJ Redis, thanks for the 2. Hey, Tug and Megan, get my email today. I saw an email come in. I've not had a chance to catch up on emails today, so I'll check it out. It'll either be first thing in the morning or it'll be tonight or first thing in the morning. I'll check it out for sure. And thank you. Bad Vibes, thanks for the 52 months. Man, Bad Vibes, 52 months there. Tug, if you had all the physical documents from this case, you would have more confetti than this Super Bowl. Indeed. It is crazy. Actually, have been, filing and cataloging them just to make sure that we keep them together, so we can find them and easily assess what's here. That's why I mentioned numbers, because the easiest way to, if you can remember what comes up with numbers in the case with so many documents, that's the easiest way to refer to something. If you look at motions too, they will tell you that they are responses to other specific documents. That's one thing I like about the setup with it as well. But yeah, if I had it all physically printed out, my Lord, it's a lot of freaking paper to eat up. Ooh. That's why I like that digital catalog. Tierney, thanks for the membership there. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for the membership. Welcome to Tug's Thugs. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate you there. Sticky, thanks for the 10 there. 2 things. I'll be here all night. Whew, man, that's a crazy. 2, watching the RDR2 stream and seeing Flux and Mail. Yeah, Red Dead Redemption. Yeah, seeing both in a fist fight, sort of, stirred me to anxiousness in an awkward, pleasant sort of way. That's hilarious. That is freaking hilarious. Birthday fly on the wall. Thanks for the $2 super sticker. Birthday fly on the wall. I like the fly on the wall thing. That's funny. I would like to be a fly on the wall, like I said, to have seen Randy's reaction to some of this stupid. Because he's got to be like, what in the world now? They're saying that I what? That I'm conspiring to do what now? That's beautiful. Frankie, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships there. Thank you, Frankie. Very much appreciated. It's awesome. I love watching them fall in. Jill, thanks for the 2. Cup came from me. Glad you like it. Yeah, I do there. So that's awesome. I did not know it didn't say on there, from the way it's sent in. I do. I've set it up on my desk. I like it. I actually, like I said, I love the fact that I've turned it around to the isn't that fascinating? That's what made me think about it. I've got it on my desk sitting over here across from me. I have a desk. essentially. I have a little portable desk that slides out. I have this thing on the wall that it covers quite a bit of the wall and has some shelves above it. On my right, I have another desk with another computer on the left. And we got the cup setting over there. So anytime I turn and look, it says, isn't that fascinating? I love it. It is awesome. Wendy Bono, thanks for too there. Tell you need one that says very, very much so. That's true too. Yeah, very much so. That's funny. I gotta sit down and think of all the tugisms as Megan was calling them. Ted, thanks for the 2 laundry quarters. Yeah, actually it'll be more like shipping money to ship over some of the packages. JB, thank you for the $5 super sticker too. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Rebel Bird, what's up, Rebel? Thank you for the $5 super sticker too. Hope you're doing well, by the way. Swinging that ridge, yeah. KC, thanks for the 2. BBB still has not sent any evidence yet. We're not aware of what they've turned over, as far as any information. So haven't been any filings talking about it now. I mean, it'll be interesting to see, what exactly. Again, one thing that they did finally do, and we need to talk about this. Well, I want to break it down with Megan. So we'll do this sometime this week, I'm sure. I talked about it a little bit, but in the filing with the counterclaim, they also gave answers. They gave their answers and affirmative defense. So if you take the federal lawsuit, document 1, and you line it up with documents 69 and 70, I believe, then you can look at claims and what they're trying to state is their answer to it. It's always fascinating to do that. I love doing it there. But other than that, don't know about anything. My dog, thanks for the 2. Poor abused panty hamsters. I know, man. Those freaking panty hamsters, so sad. Where do they migrate when the menthol tide rolls in? Where indeed? So much horror. Photo lady, thank you for the membership. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for your membership. Welcome to Tux Thugs. Thank you very much, photo lady. Death's Angel, what's up, Death's Angel? Hope you're doing good, by the way. Thank you for that membership. Good to see you there. Durbin Derb News. Thanks. Oh, what a freaking thumbnail. Thanks for the 2. Megan, like Pokemon. gotta get them all, man. Yeah, I feel like that with documents, actually. Deborah, thanks for the 2 there. Breadsticks to drive them crazy. It is so weird how much they hate other people making money. It is. Like, it's so bizarre. BC Eagle, thanks for the 5. Hey, Tuck and Megan. I love making haters mad. And I got paid today. Enjoy this breadstick money. delicious. Thank you. Appreciate it. I got a mug to capture their tears. It's beautiful. I would drink them, but they're probably toxic. I have my favorite. Thanks for the breadsticks. Give me a second. That will not lock on there. I have my favorites. I can't. Give me 1 minute. Something is. Give me 1 second. It's acting so stupid here. All right, there we are. Breadsticks are much better than Palamopes. There we go. Sorry about that, by the way. It wouldn't lock in for me. It locked in on the screen, but I had to hold it there. It wouldn't stay otherwise when I let it up. So I had to go in and refresh it and fix there. All right. Palamops. Do you like the Palamopes? I love it. Little B, thanks for the $4 super sticker. Appreciate the super stickers too. I love them. Thank you. Beatrice, thanks for the 5 there. Didn't get my notification. Missed the first 29 minutes. My favorite YouTubers. Well, I'm glad you are here. You know, at least you're. Yes, YouTube is terrible about it. That's why I try to go at the same time, except on Sundays. Sunday. We go at a different time because, of course, but it's still this kind of the same time. You know, we just go a little bit earlier, but it's an adjusted time to make sure. Again, we're not. I want to go over Jeremy's live stream from Sunday too. That was actually a pretty good live stream. Beatrice, thanks for the 5 gifter memberships as well. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. That is awesome. Thank you. Sandra, thanks for the 10 there. You both do an amazing job of keeping track of this madness. Thanks. Fun employment fund. Thank you for that. Yeah, it takes a minute. And there are a lot of people out there too. Again, I want to give credit as always to people who send over stuff. Man, MaxLab is really fast about sending things. Like again, MaxLab is always on top of that. That's good. You know, and I don't trust a lot of people to not get it, you know, wrong, you know, and again, that's just my own caution in there, but MaxLab does a damn good job of it. It's somebody that when they do, when you know, you know. Enjoy them. Thank you, man. Noreen, thanks for the 2. Glow stick money. Maybe are those Chernobyl based breadsticks? Oh no. No, thank you. Paul, thanks for the 5. Megan, check your email subject to Palamops. I'll tell her to check that out, by the way. I'll make sure. So thanks for the 2. Wilburn's hit 1,000 subscribers today. Go, George, go. Hey, that's awesome there. Props to you. That is actually very good. You know, the 1,000 and the 10,000. Those are the 1,000 feels like it takes forever, but it's a good one because you build. So hitting that, you know, you're building your own freaking viewership off that. That's good, man. Very good. 1,000, way to go. That's a big milestone. Teresa, thanks for the 10. 3rd time's charm. Love you both. I've been a fan of What the Hales for nearly 6 years. Wow, that's awesome. Looking forward to more fun drama comedy with Megan and Tug. Megan, oh yeah, the musical stuff. Oh man, it's good. It's actually very good. I can see being a 2 or 3 parter at this rate. Oh, I know. Like, you know what's crazy is I just did the settlement song, and I'm already like, man, I need more. Like, you know, finished it, and I was like, man, it's like usually buy me a week, not that one. Nope. So much. Kimberly, thanks for the 5. Is the reason they made the picture of Randy with a polyflop crown because they are alleging he's using this case to make money? Yeah, well, we don't know. I mean, maybe that's what they're saying, but here's the issue with that. They didn't put any description whatsoever of anything. All they did was take an image and a term that they copyrighted. They slapped it all on this website, which you find when you search on Google, and they have monetized that. So, I mean, that's a real problem there. There's a real problem. Unless I want to watch their content, I don't know what polyflop means. Well, the average person, it's I don't know. Maybe I'm back in Lawyer Kings. I don't know what it means. I imagine what they want to say with it, but they don't really. And again, you know, it runs into this problem. If they're talking about the unwanted use, you not giving permission, they realize like they've really screwed the pooch as far as that. I mean, as far as video showing Jeremy Hales and more, you know, they keep talking about how, you know, they don't just include image, they include name. All right. Well, how many times have they put up a video of him driving down his own road or him coming off of property or more? I mean, they have no idea how bad this stuff, it really would reflect on them. And he said that. He was like, look, if they won something, you know how bad that would be for them. That's true. SF thinks like a vigilante didn't take JH out based on lies of the science. That's indeed true. Thinking they were seeking justice for an innocent child. That is exactly right there. You know, and that is the most frightening thing. See, that's the frightening thing about lies with the internet. Especially when you're talking and accusing somebody of being a PDF file. You may motivate somebody that is that has nothing else to do something horrendous. People get motivated by the craziest stuff too. I don't know if you've ever watched the movie, but I like this movie, by the way. It's a Brad Pitt movie, The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. Now, it takes liberties, of course. It's a book it's based on. Man, that book is good, by the way. Audiobook is pretty good too. It's abridged, but it's still pretty good, you know. But anyway, if there's a point to saying this, if you check that out, what you see in there is to the end. Okay, what you see in there is somebody that is motivated by things that they heard about, say, Robert Ford, you know, and Jesse James, and they motivate. They end up taking Robert Ford's life. Now, again, you can give scumbaggery about him that you want about any of the people in that, but that name being public and the stories about Jesse James going from being an outlaw to being some kind of some kind of folk hero, it motivated somebody to do horrible things. And we've seen that throughout time. We've seen people motivated just because of wording, because of some misconception or lie, flagrant lie. And if you think about some of the things that have been said, and really the buzzwords that are put out. See, this is the thing that scares me with the whole Jeremy thing anyway. If you think about the buzzwords that are attached to the people that have been stalking him, again, he has a protective order against them. He has other people like feeding into their cameras to cover. I mean, it's wild stuff. But if you look at the buzzwords that are attached to those people, you know, the ones that their defenders use, they could really motivate somebody to do harm. And that's a scary prospect. Let me see. I think that's a good point, though, that you brought up there. Vicky, thanks for the 10 there. How come there's no speedy trials for this? Oh, yeah. Actually, the right to a speedy trial is not... that deals with I think a misconception on what speedy trial actually it means. You know, when you look at somebody that's been charged with something criminal, for example, they can languish in jail for years before they get a trial. You know, when you look at civil trial, I mean, again, the reality is that the justice system runs on money. It runs on money big time. You have the system itself getting paid. You have lawyers getting paid. Really, the real winners in litigation are lawyers as far as getting paid. And I mean, the justice system comes out ahead too. They get a lot of money out of that too. But yeah, as far as speedy trial is concerned, it's a myth. It really is. You know, when you look at your right to a speedy trial, you should really look up what that deals with. because it's quite crazy what it should mean and what it ends up meaning. But OPQ is using more and more paper bombs to slow down even more. Yes, actually, papering a case is nasty, by the way. You can piss a judge off really badly doing that. Never tell the truth. There's a moolah for lots of breadsticks. Indeed, they need to be called on it. You know, I mean, again, I think that is the one. I've never thought I would have this as a criticism. Again, I like Randy's filing. I think he does a remarkable job. He's a very professional lawyer. But when you're dealing with scumbags, like, how does that work? Can that be a detriment? And sometimes I think it almost can be. I don't know, but that's in the moment. We'll see. We'll see if it wins out. I mean, these people have been not just cut a lot of slack, which is one thing, but you've got to just absolutely burn down their lies. And that, again, and I'm not talking about the lies in the court as far as spinning and stuff. He does a good job with that. I'm talking about just flagrant lies. Like, oh, well, we didn't have a conference. Oh, well, you know what? He wrote me an email. You know, again, it's insane. I've seen some scummy moves, but those are pretty scummy. Anyway, Paula, thanks for the 5. What they never answered is how JH would have controlled their action if it's truly for content. Indeed. You know, if it was all about content, look at the way that they act and react. Again, he can't control them there. He can't make them have the craziness there. And they absolutely have done. Again, they like to gloss over the idea of the protective order. That is an inconvenient truth, isn't it? Lily, thanks for the 18 months. Who's Pam? She got a channel. No, Pam actually does this breakdown on Facebook. She has a Facebook account. I read so you don't have to. I may be paraphrasing the way I think that's about right, though. But she essentially watches shows so you don't have to, and gives you a breakdown. And the breakdowns are pretty good. They're funny, but they hit the high points of things that are going on. Like, I wanted to know if a certain interview had happened or not. Well, I can go and read that. But yeah, if somebody wants to link her Facebook account, if she's good with that, I think that would be good too. Like, get her some followers on that, because again, her breakdowns, they save me a lot. Like, I'm not going to watch that mess, but I do think like seeing and reading just a little synopsis of it is pretty funny. SF, thanks for the 5 there. Can she even claim a right to her image that was taken during a court proceeding, which is public? No, unfortunately, you do not have the right to those. So you also do not have the right to images taken in public. That is one of those things that has been fought repeatedly. She cannot say. She also cannot say that when she says that, oh, she gets mocked for, like her depo, for example. That doesn't matter. How many channels do you see on YouTube with people doing stupid shit in a courtroom that they get mocked over? Because there's a lot of them. So, something to bark about. Thanks for the 3 months there. Enjoy you too very much. I'm always on the replay team. You got lucky tonight. Well, I'm glad to have you. Thank you there. Appreciate you. Orphan Me, thanks for the 5 there. How can JC and LP say Jeremy framed them when they're on record admitting the LP wrote them? They put them out in the Ohio case. It's fascinating, isn't it? They put out signs. Oh, wait. Well, inconvenience, right? Lily, thanks for the 5 there. Shizzy says he sent the judge a note about last email, and it was after Jeremy said Bruce was under investigation. Did you guys email the court? I did not email the court yet. I will not. I don't want to have 100 people email the court and be like, yo, the same thing happened. One person, you'll see exactly what the reaction is to that. If the judge reacts to that, it's like, this is ridiculous, it's egregious, then yeah, I would write as well. I'd be like, hey, judge, by the way, You know, this happened with multiple people, but you have to be careful. You have to handle that stuff in a certain, very sensitive way, I'm going to say. You know, you run the risk of making a judge mad, and because you never know how a judge is going to be, right? You never know. So I'm trying to be careful about that. I'm setting my redirect. I've got a few more super chats, and I want to make sure. Just give me a second. I'm going to set up my redirect. Shizzy is live tonight, so I do want to give him some love tonight. Give me 1 minute. I'll have it set. I'm actually getting very fast at that, by the way. Boom. That was good. That's at the read there. But yeah, I will, depending on what comes up with it. Thanks for the 10 there. My favorite t-shirt says I'm allergic to stupid. I break out in sarcasm. Indeed. Indeed. See, that's perfect. That is absolutely perfect. I love it. Rogue Mama, thanks for the 2. Rabbi Rusted Tug. Rusted Tug, baby. I love it. Kara, thanks for the 5 there. Where can I send you something for you, Megan and Shizzy? I don't know about Shizzy as far as sending things. I'm not sure. Give me 1 minute. Let me pull up something. I'll give you the address for my P.O. box, just in case you need it. But I do not know about Shizzy. You can send something to Meg, and I will forward it over to her as well. But I am P.O. Box 151. You can just message it to me, of course. And there's the address to it. I just dropped it in the chat, so you can just check that out. Mail it to that one. 1 second, I'll pin that at the top too. But yeah, if you want to, and I appreciate that. Break it. Thanks for the 5 there. If they allow the counterclaims, does not affect all YouTubers. Yeah, indeed. Indeed. And media and everything else. Yes. They're absolutely absurd freaking ideas. So indeed, that's what we were talking about with 54008, you know. That's why it's such a ridiculous claim. It's already been litigated, very much so. That's why we have fair use rules and everything else. Mistrust Lynn, thanks for the 2. So fetch. The ecosystem can't sit with this. Oh, fetch indeed. Kim, thanks for the 10. Tug and Megan, send your prayers to Crystal Fowler. I have to watch replays a while. My grandson passed away this morning. We're trying to get things around. She was, 2, man. And I loved y'all. You know, that is awful. That's so rough. So I can't even imagine what y'all are going through with that. Love to them, prayers and support to them. Everybody in chat too. You know, give your love to them. I hope, you know, if y'all need anything, just let me know. That's awful. But love to you, Kim. Munson, thanks for the 2 there. Poor Hangry. I know. He's trying to, he's like, oh, I gotta go lay down. Gotta get out of there. You know. It's funny. Maw, thanks for the 5 there. Just because. Just because. I like just because. It's awesome. Well, thank you. Just because. Shooting Star, thanks for the 2. Were you guys advertising pole dancing weddings? Yes, indeed. That's actually, you never realized that. That's right. You know, I too want to become a preacher and a pole dancer so I can mix them together just like my idol. Terry, thanks for the 5. Proud of you, Tug. It's been on 6 months. Quit smoking. The hardest thing I've ever done. Well, yeah, indeed. You know, like I said, Cokes, man, I never thought. Now I've drank some sugar-free freaking Sprites. That's about, you know, it's so crazy, you know. I've never tried like that. That's a grip on me forever. So, hey, Terry, by the way, props to you. You know, props to you. 6 months. That's good, man. You're right there. You're right there. You know, just keep trucking along. Great job there. aka Cat Lady, thanks for the 5. I bet they're using Randy's image in order to bring him into the case so he can't be Jeremy's attorney. Yeah, it's a stupid idea. That's why they actually want to use him and throw him into stuff, because they're hoping that they could somehow disqualify him and get him off the case because he just stomps it out. Lily, thanks for the 2. Strong will to I'm gonna quit, but more. Well, I mean, again, cokes and stuff like that, you have about a lag out for 3 to 5 days. It's not fun. Just have some time, sleep, you know. And then the caffeine. I haven't had any caffeine at all. I haven't been drinking any caffeination or anything. You know, everything I've added back in is either water or 0 sugar, 0 caffeine stuff. Just don't ever have it around me. That's the best way to handle it. Valid View News, thanks for the 10. Could legal action take place with me licensing Palomont Blues for the copyright of the nonsense? Oh, if you're making parody, again, you got to understand this. People can sue you over anything. You know, now parody and satire is obviously a protected thing. So it's you have to remember they can sue you, and that's lawfare. Like the thing is, would they be in the right? Could they win? Well, I mean, you can win on something, but would they be in the right? No. But can they do that and try to cause you problems? Yes. You know, they can be assholes like that, but they can sue for anything. I mean, unfortunately, that's the thing. Now, if you beat them and you end up taking them for costs and other stuff. That's why it's actually why I think Bruce decided to file his LLC, because he knew when he's getting into this, he's going to get sued, and he's afraid he's going to lose. If he loses, see, he's trying to keep it as a company so he doesn't lose everything. You notice that when he got into this, it's like, that seems particularly interesting, doesn't it? Hey, JB, by the way, so you sent a 5 there as well on Cash App. Thank you, JB. That is much appreciated. Thank you. Janice, thanks for 10. There's a Polymob. Yeah, I saw the Polymob thing. Website that's been out there since the 80s. The Walrus induced foreskin ambulance chaser, and the band of misfits are trying to trademark. Saying, well, they're going Paula, P-A-L-A. I just say Polly, but it's Paula, P-O-L-A. So it's not a polymop, because there's actually products called polymops and everything else. Carolyn B, thanks for 5. Do you think they're trying to get Randy in trouble with putting on his picture there on the website? Oh, well, they've tried to get him in trouble. They've targeted him all the time. They've targeted his reputation. You know, they've done everything they can to cause him problems. They're alleging he's part of conspiracy and all this other nonsense. Meanwhile, you know, part of that is deflection. Again, part of it is like, it's them guys. It's not me. I swear, you know, that kind of nonsense. But the other part is vitriol and hate to anybody that stood up for Jeremy Hales, causing problems. Vanessa, thanks for the 5. Tug, Zimby sent you her 10-month milestone. So zero with you. Well, I appreciate that. 10 months, man. That's awesome. 10 freaking months. That's a long time, by the way. I appreciate it. Like I said, I appreciate you all that have stuck with the channel. Again, you know, I've been very lucky to be able to cover. I can keep covering just whatever, and I can do this. I'm doing it full time now. Like, it's amazing. Never thought I could do it. Yet here we are. It's absolutely amazing. Thank you, Vanessa, too. And again, thank you. Yes, I appreciate that. Jack Miles, thanks for the 2. Powers of Law and Management of Operation Projects. It's more like management of optics, something. You know, I think you could have fun with polymop and tear it apart. I actually put together something really funny with that. Shall see, but hey, thank you, Jack, too. I think everybody's playing with it. I think you have the right idea. Like, you're the, you know, going in and setting it up. I think you could have a lot of fun, like really creating something funny. Cheryl, thanks for the 4 months there. Look forward to the show. Thank you. Hey, Cheryl, thank you. Like I said, I appreciate all of you. That is awesome. So many of you show up. There are over 3,000 of you while we're covering stuff. Thousands of you still stick around for super chats. Amazing. What's up, Skipper? What's up, man? Thanks for the 2 there. Congratulations, Georgie. Indeed. Like I said, that 1,000 milestone is a big one. And you're doing it the right way. You know, people who just have like an internet moment, you know, they fizzle up or they die out. That grind, that hustle and grind, building your own thing. That's when you want to go that way. So you're doing it the right way there. Congrats on it. Yankee Bell, thanks for the 5 there. Palomar, pole dancing old lady, always mooching off people. Oh shit, that's pretty good. I love that one. I'm taking a screenshot. That's actually pretty funny. That's a good one. I've taken a screenshot of a bunch of y'alls, by the way. That's why if you hear me clicking, I do stuff like that, like screenshot and everything else. Hey, Jamie, by the way, I did catch the cash out there. Thank you, Jamie, too. So I'm giving you love there before. I used your initials, but like I said, thank you for sure. That is awesome. I love that too. You know, I can put that like straight on something with the kids and go out. It's kind of fun. Derpy Derpju, thanks for the 2 there. I want to ask Megan out. I think she'll say yes, but probably not with her kids and husband. I'm gonna rate that as probably not. But hey, you know, Denise, thanks for the 10 there. There's a website, internet polyglot. I think you sent that twice, Denise. If you meant to send it twice, either, let me make sure. I can't tell. You'll have to look at your thing and see if you sent it twice or if I read it out of order. I'm not sure. You know, if you meant to send it twice, awesome. If I don't know, like I said, either that or I read it out of order. Just make sure if you didn't mean to send it twice there. But yeah, we were talking about the but it says Polymop. So there's a website about Polymop that's been there since the 80s. Let me look at that. Polymop. Let me look. Website. What is it about? Actually link that to me. You know, if it's about something else, because it's already established. See, you can go in. Okay, so copyright is interesting. You can trademark something if it has to do with specific items or specific, you know, but if it's already been utilized, that would allow people to come back in if they've been using it for something else. They could argue about that, you know. So, I mean, you get into some interesting stuff with it. Lily thinks that there is. Randy aware of the pick monetization? I've let Jeremy know. I let Megan know. So, you know, obviously Megan knows here. So I'm sure that was probably forwarded over. I don't do communications really with, Randy seems like an interesting fellow and stuff. I just try to minimize my community. He's not out here doing this. You know what I mean? I've sent him some emails from BBB that ended up in filings. And I sent over that thing that BBB had gotten his 2 weirdos to put together, you know, where they were, again, sending it to random email accounts and sending it to the ADL. The random email accounts, the really crazy thing, because you bring in somebody that's so sloppy they don't even like fact check to get the right thing. They just randomly mail out to any address they think might be the right one. It's weird, man. Skipper, also, thank you for that gifted membership too. Thanks, man. Appreciate you, buddy. And Sticky Widget right there at the end. Still here. You can't get rid of me. I wouldn't want to get rid of you anyway, my friend. Appreciate you. Now get out of here. No, I'm just kidding. Now, let me see. I think I got everything covered. Let me make sure. Yep, everything's covered. All right. So what I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to send you over to the Sticky. Make sure you give him love too. I love Mr. Sticky Widget. So I'm going to send you over there. Let's do a raid. Tell him Tug sent you. And again, appreciate all of you here. This is a crazy case. We just keep trucking. We'll see what's there tomorrow on Megan's channel. See ya.